resolution to the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia in honor of its 50th anniversary. Remarks from Sharon Hwang Hartz, the president of the association, will follow.
귀한 말씀을 전해주신 여러 개인과 참여해주신 단체들의 귀한 공헌에 다시 한번 감사드립니다. 이 시간에는 데이빗 오 시의원께서 창립 50주년을 맞이한 대필라델피아 한인회에게 필라델피아 시의회 결의안을 전달하는 시간을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 전달식 후에 대필라델피아 한인회 샤론 황 회장의 인사 말씀이 있겠습니다.
On behalf of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, I'm proud to recognize Sharon Hwang Hartz, President of the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia, and to present her with this City Council resolution. It's a resolution recognizing and honoring the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia on the occasion of its 50th anniversary. And I'm going to read portions of this resolution. Whereas the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia was formed on October 3rd, 1970. The Korean Association was created to support and advocate for the growing number of Korean immigrants with their cultural and economic assimilation into American life. And whereas the Korean Association worked tirelessly through the decades to serve as the go-to resource for local Korean American community, whether it be by bridging language barriers, assisting with the formation and growth of Korean American businesses, or connecting Korean American students with scholarships and financial aid. And whereas the Korean American Association has also developed programs to connect Korean Americans with local civic centers to obtain driver licenses or to vote in local elections. Whereas the Korean Association also helped purchase a local cemetery site for Korean Americans to be laid to rest in. Whereas during this difficult year, the Korean Association rose to the challenge to combat the various public health and economic crises. And whereas the Korean Association formed the Korean Community COVID-19 Emergency Committee in March of 2020 to support the region's pandemic response, which led to the Community Make Masks campaign. And whereas the campaign gathered and distributed over 45,000 masks to essential workers in healthcare, law enforcement, schools, senior centers, and senior citizens. And whereas after hundreds of local Korean businesses were damaged and looted, the Korean Association partnered with the Korean American Chamber of Commerce in Philadelphia to assist businesses in applying for and receiving grants to rebuild. Whereas the Korean Association also worked to ensure Korean American communities were counted in the 2020 census, reaching over 10,000 individuals through phone banking and pledge drives. And whereas now in its 50th year of service, the Korean American Association continues to lead the way as a voice and vital resource for Korean Americans, and its leadership will ensure the local Korean American community will continue to thrive and grow for years to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Philadelphia that it hereby recognizes and honors the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia on the occasion of its 50th anniversary. Further resolved that an engrossed copy of this resolution be presented to the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia, further evidencing the sincere admiration and respect of this legislative body. And I'm proud to present this resolution to the President, Sharon Hwang Hartz.
Hello everyone, Happy New Year! My name is Sharon Hartz, President of the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia. It is my honor and a privilege to be here today as we gather to celebrate Korean American Day. As a Korean American living in the Greater Philadelphia area, I am deeply grateful and proud to be a part of this celebration, especially to Councilman David O, the City Hall staff, and the committee members who made this day possible. 118 years ago today, in 1903, the first Korean immigrants arrived in Hawaii, successfully stepping onto the soil of the U.S. Now, more than 2 million Korean Americans are living and working here, calling this great country their home, my home. I am grateful for all of the hardworking first-generation Korean Americans whose diligence and Foresight drove them to raise their families with strong values and work ethic. As we receive the City Council resolution in honor of celebrating the 50th anniversary of Korean American Association, I am humbled by the volunteers of the Community Masks Making campaign and organizations or leaders who generously donate and handmade masks to save lives when it was most needed. Since the start of this year in March, the Korean Community COVID-19 Emergency Committee brought over 10,000 citizens and 100 community leaders together, creating a number of subcommittees, including the Making Masks campaign. Please reach out to us, the Korean American Association, for any community work and the betterment we can assist with. Thank you.
Again, congratulations to the Korean American Association of Greater Philadelphia.